Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Joe Buskens. This is our family's boat shop where we've been building boats since the 60s and where we built our 29-foot hybrid bay there in the background behind me. Now, if you're following the channel, of course, you know that, but maybe you're new here, and we want to welcome everyone and let you know that this is something we've been doing for a long, long time. Now, previously, for like the last 13 episodes, we were doing a hard top build for our 29-footer. And it's kind of funny because we're working on the little table today that we actually built our hard top on. And now our hard top is acting as the as the table. But everybody that's doing this kind of work, you need a workspace or something to work off of. And it's incredibly useful to have a little table like this one around the shop. And I mean, there's no specific dimension that you've got to have. I have this one on caster wheels, and I want to put a little bit more durable and a little just a better looking surface on this thing. And the popularity of like epoxy countertops and using epoxy to seal wood and make all kind of arts and crafts is huge these days. And I've got plenty of epoxy around. Now, this little top here, we just use a cabinet grade birch plywood. That's 3/4 inch. I routed the edges so you got a nice transition there, and that is readily available. We got it from our local Lowe's in our area, but I'm sure you can source it elsewhere. And I've actually found it's really, really good for building forms and patterns. It will hold resin, and we have resin coated it with a polyester tooling resin. Now, you don't have to use a tooling resin, but we like something that is a laminating resin or a polyester tooling resin will work just fine. And you could put some wax additive in that and get a nice tack-free surface. But I've got several different brands of epoxy over here, and I think the epoxy is going to flow out a little nicer and give a little clearer finish. And so what we're going to be using today is the Pro Glass, and we source this from Fiberglass, would be the company that distributes that. And then, of course, over here we've also got some of the West systems, which is very, very popular, and most people are familiar with it. Now, both of these are like 4-to-1 epoxy, so meaning we're going to have 4 parts resin to 1 part activator. And I went ahead, and you can see we went ahead and poured up 8 ounces here, which is around 250 milliliters for our friends overseas that are on their metric system. And then we've got right at 2 ounces of the activator poured up. So if you're doing a 1-to-1, it'd be like 4 ounces to 1 ounce, or if you're doing a larger volume, you could go 8 ounces to 2 ounces. Now, for folks that want something maybe a little simpler for folks at home, West System has a pump system where you basically go 1 pump of the resin to 1 pump of the catalyst, mix those together, and you are going to have the product you are looking for. So we're going to go ahead, very important to be wearing some PPE when dealing with epoxies. Epoxy can be a sensitizer. If you have prolonged contact with it, you can develop some sensitivity to it. So I would highly recommend wearing some good gloves, and also have a good open space, and a respirator and some airflow is a good idea. I'm going to jump over here and turn our fan, get some air going here in the shop. And being that I've already measured this out, we are going with the Pro Glass epoxy. It is a simple matter of adding your activator or your hardener to your resin, and I'm going to mix this just nice and easy. Now, as an interesting note, you can see that on the Pro Glass, the hardener or activator is a medium in power or strength, and basically you can get a slow, a medium, and a fast. If you were to look over here on the West Systems, that is a fast activator on that one. Quite honestly, the hotter it is, the slower you want to use. So they even make a slow activator. And if you're working in temps like we are today, you would want to use a slow or a medium. I'm gonna be able to use this pretty quick, so I don't wanna wait for it to cure, but I don't want it to activate too fast. Now you'll notice, as we're mixing this, I'm not mixing it terribly rapidly, just nice, easy motions, kind of pulling up from the bottom to the top. We don't want to introduce a lot of air bubbles into that. And we should be able to use this material pretty quickly. Now it's important to also remember that epoxy in a mass like this is going to accelerate the cure. It's an exothermic reaction, meaning the warmer it is and the more material you have, the faster it is going to kick off. So what I like to do is mix in a cup and then transfer it where we've got some better temperature distribution, I guess you could say. We want to make this thing where it can get plenty of airflow across the resin. So about a minute, minute and a half on mix time is going to be adequate. And we're just going to transfer this to a standard pan with a little paint tray liner. That came directly from Lowe's. We use a bunch of those. Want to be sure that's good and clean. We will transfer this right over. And you can see there's a lot more surface area there for this epoxy to kind of breathe, and that'll help prolong the working time with this material. Now you could theoretically also pour this out directly onto the part, but I kind of wanted to show you folks, today we are going to be using a Corona slicker. That is a foam, that is for smooth surfaces. It's a 1/8 nap, and I have found that that can work really good. Now you can also use a hair roller, but overall I think a foam works really good. I'm going to go ahead and actually pour some of this out. I took a bit of a guesstimate on the volume we're working with, that it would be the right amount. You have to be careful when using a roller or working with epoxy that you don't aerate or agitate it too much, because you will get a lot of bubbles. Just nice and easy. You can see how nice that is laying out already. It's gonna really seal this little table, give me a good durable surface to work on. And it also demonstrates the compatibility of being able to apply epoxy over a polyester or even a vinyl ester resin, but you wouldn't want to do it the other way around. There's some incompatibility sometimes with these materials, and occasionally you can make it work, and there are people that will use it. Matter of fact, I'm kind of excited. I've got a material in the shop right now that is designed to help promote compatibility between a surface that's been epoxied and then a surface that you want to put like Gelcoat over it, for example, which would be a polyester material. Oh yeah, that's looking really nice. I'm going to kind of use this foam roller just to doctor up the edges a little. And I know this isn't my typical, obviously we're usually working on boats, but right now we're kind of setting up for a whole nother series of some product reviews and getting ready for our next major project. And I was doing this anyway, and I was like, man, anybody out there interested in doing this kind of work needs a nice little work table. And I have really enjoyed this one. Kind of giving it a little facelift. It was been around here for a long time, and we put the fresh birch on top and want to dress it up and make it look nice for everybody. All right, we're just taking our time. Again, you don't want to over roll it. Kind of move nice and easy. looks absolutely beautiful already. This is something anybody could do at home. This, on a scale of hardness, this is about a 1 or 2, and it really, really helps to be productive. Now, there's a little bit resin rich on there, so I picked up some of that resin with our roller, and I'm gonna apply it right down here on these side panels. Just look really nice cosmetically. And that's gonna be really nice. Looks better already, I'm telling you. Now, if you folks were home and not trying to communicate like I am, a good quality respirator, y'all have seen me talk about this one before. That is from 3M. That's their Secure Click HF803SD. For a guy like me, I like the large. Anything smaller than that is kind of confining on the face. I would say it's better to go a little on the large side than choose small for comfort. Always good to have somebody else kind of looking around as you're working too, and have eyes on your project. See if you missed any spots. Very satisfying. Good coverage on this top, but I'm not necessarily looking for a crazy thick layer on there. Just want to really seal the surface. Of course, you could vary the size. Bigger tables are nice, and I'm kind of contemplating building a bigger one for the shop to work off of, but this one has been really handy. Just take your time, nice and easy. Roller works great for just getting good, even distribution on the surface. But a lot of times it'll leave a little texture, or you'll get some bubbles. And I'm going to show y'all how you would deal with that. Man, I'm pretty pleased. I took a guesstimate at that. That was about 8 ounces of resin, about 2 ounces of hardener or activator to cover a table about that size. And we have just a bit still in the roller here, or in the pan. So we're gonna do a little rolling and tipping. This is just a 2-inch, kind of an inexpensive brush. You could use something more expensive if you were doing something a little higher end, but this is pretty basic. And for rolling and tipping, it's just nice, easy movements there if you want to try to get a little smoother surface. Just dragging that out nice and easy. Now you may choose to do more than one coat if you were working on something, maybe something other than just a a workbench or a work table like this is, and that's what this is here. This is going to be used in the shop, and I'm sure we're going to get some gel coat and putties and fillers on it, but I wanted it to look really, really nice for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little more rolling and tipping on this thing, but I hope y'all enjoyed it. This is kind of simple. It's going to be kind of a short and sweet little video, but maybe it just shows you the fact that yes, you can put epoxy over polyesters. You can apply foam with a foam roller is usually my go-to choice. And there are companies that make ones where you have to meter and mix it, and ones that make little pumps. But honestly, a lot of the modern epoxy systems are very, very good. Now, one thing to note, typically with epoxies, your higher ratios, like your 4:1 epoxies, are gonna produce an amine blush, whereas your 2:1s don't typically produce an amine blush. If you have one that does produce an amine blush, you're gonna have to remove that between each coat. So something to factor in. So hope y'all enjoyed the little video here. If you did, the thumbs up, like, share, comment, tell a friend. Love to hear from you folks what you think about how we're doing on the channel. And we do have some really cool projects coming here shortly, so y'all stay tuned. Captain Joe here with Island Marine Charters, Fish Bump TV on YouTube. My son as my amazing cameraman there behind the scenes. And as always, we will catch you guys next time out.